Alright, GM everyone. Welcome to my channel. This is going to be the first video that I have made. I wanted to make this video looking forward to the release of MapleStory Classic World coming out hopefully end of this year, early next year. I'm a old school MapleStory player. I've been playing since, not quite the beginning, not the beta, but very shortly after that. I have very fond memories as a kid. I played off and on throughout most of my childhood into my adult years, but I've really fell off in the recent years, so the announcement of MapleStory Classic has me really excited. Without further ado, we'll get started on the tier list. I wanted to make a tier list based on nothing has been announced yet as far as, class changes, item changes, world changes, anything along those lines. So this is just assuming, everything is the way it is. I might make an updated video in the future if, there are significant changes to a lot of classes. But I'm not an expert, to be fair. I have played a ton of Maple across multiple patches, but I can't say I have been deep endgame on any class. The farthest I've been, I would say progression-wise at any point, is probably like around 170 on an ARAN, back when Lionheart Castle was still meta for farming and stuff like that. 200 was still the level cap, things like that. So let's get into it. So we're going to start first here with the hero class. Now, hero class is, everyone loves a good hero class, right? So everyone loves heroes. Heroes are strong. Heroes, I feel like, carry through most of the game. Now, it's my understanding that when we will get the game based on what I've seen online from other creators, what I've heard from other people, is that we're going to get a third job meta to start, but could be second. I really don't, I have no idea. They haven't said anything, so it could be anything. I think that hero is a safe pick for anyone, any class, any patch. Even moving forward, I think it's a good pick. They're strong, they're tanky, they're not extremely expensive. They have great bossing. They have great mobbing to a degree. It's not S tier mobbing, but you get the best of both worlds when it comes to playing the game. I think it's a really safe class. A few ways to play it. I think it's really fun. We're gonna put it in A. I think A is a safe spot. It could be like a B and a half, but I think it's an A. I think hero class is an A. Now, things may change and they might, up and down, but I think if you were to start after not playing the game for 20 years and you said, man, I don't know what to pick, I'm not really sure, I don't remember what I'm doing, hero is probably a good class, I think, if you don't want to be just doing what everyone else is doing. And, we'll talk about that a little bit later in the video. But yeah, A for hero. Love a good hero class. Seems like everyone does. They have great buffs. Rage, extremely good, especially early on, I think. Doesn't have a ton of buffs for party stuff, but overall, pretty solid class. I think they're very balanced. Very balanced. So, after hero, we'll move on to Paladin. Now, Paladin is a class that I love in not necessarily MapleStory, but in all genres of RPGs. Paladin is a fantastic class. I love the concept of a Paladin. Now, I actually have a Paladin in GMS. It's fun, but it's definitely, even there, a bit underwhelming. So, Paladin in old school MapleStory, as far as I know, you didn't even see too many Paladins back in the day, to be completely honest. But it has its niche, okay? I'm not gonna just totally hate on Paladin here, but I am going to put them in the D tier. Paladin, I think, I could be wrong, I don't think I'm that far off. Paladin might be the worst class in the game. Now, I don't know this for sure, but I know that they are tanky, but I want to say, like, DK, for example, is just as tanky, if not potentially more, depending on gear and situation. I know that they have, like, really, they can hit really hard with one line, which is cool, and they have elemental abilities. It's just that makes them really niche, and where they're good is just really limited. A class I'm not that familiar on, but it is, you know, I'm sure there's a diehard fan base of people who are like, Paladin is my class. I love playing Paladin. I'll play Paladin in Classic. I played Paladin before. I'm going to play Paladin in the future. But if you were going to just pick up, you know, MapleStory Classic World after, again, like 20 years, would I recommend Paladin? Absolutely not. Now, Paladin does have cheap gear because no one's using blunt weapons or anything along those lines. So it's really cheap to fund. But other than that, I mean, it's just there's not a lot of party utility. There's just, it's the worst of 3 warrior classes, bar none. Bar none, it's the worst of the 3. So I'll just leave it at that. I think that Paladin needs a buff. I'll just say that right now. We'll get into that a little bit more at the end of the video, I think. But Paladin is definitely a class that needs a buff. No question. So, moving on, we're moving to everyone's favorite on the warrior side of things, and that's Dragon Knight. DKs are S tier. Everyone knows they're S tier. If I put them in anything else other than S tier, everyone's going to say, dude, well, you know they're S tier, and Hyperbody's really good. Of course Hyperbody's really good. I think in a 4th job world that DKs kind of fall back a bit, but I'm assuming on release, so like a fresh start world, DK is going to be major. DK is going to be in every party. DK is going to be in every boss. DK is going to be needed early for absolutely everything. So with that respect, DK, not only that, has potentially some of the best DPS. I mean, I think 4th job hero might be able to, like, you know, like if you're min-maxing. But I think DK is generally, if you're just pull your average player, DK is probably better. Not only that, I mean, just like the spears are sick. I will say heroes have fantastic weapons as well, but the spears are sick. They also can use spears and pole arms, so like there's a slight difference there, and I think that can change your build to a degree. I know that their abilities are specifically for certain weapon types, and I think that may need to be adjusted. We saw some of that in Artale, where I think they removed it or altered it to a degree, because I think, you know, some are just better than others, and that kind of just eliminates a bunch of items that don't need to be used in the game, so I don't, you know. But DK, especially on launch, if you want to build a warrior and you want to be needed, you want to be meta, you want to be right off the bat needed, DK, you're going to want to go Spearman DK Dark Knight, man. That's going to be, it's going to be fun for you, especially right off the bat. You're going to have great synergy with priests, and again, you're going to get into every party. If you're going to be strong, you're going to be tanky. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. They can do like 3 lines of damage, I think. I think it's on like 3 or 4 mobs. I mean, they're good. They're really good. We'll leave it at that. So the warriors are kind of feast famine, where, you know, you have your hero DK. DK is definitely a little bit better. It definitely meta. Hero is, like I said, could be slightly down here. They're more of like a middle ground, while your paladin just seems like they really need some help. You know what I mean? So moving on from there, we're gonna walk into the archer class now. I'm not a big fan of archers. I've played archers in the past. I've played archers in different patches. I have never played a third job archer in either in old school. We all know that they're straight DPS. They're straight DPS range class. There tends to be not. I feel like there tends to be not a ton of people playing either of these disciplines, but I mean they're very good. So we'll start with the bowman here. Bowman, I think, is potentially. Bowman's probably a little bit better of the two, in my opinion. It probably is situational, but I would put Bowman right here in the B tier. Now, Bowman is also the one with more aura. Like, I just think that the bows are sicker in the game. Crossbows aren't quite as cool. Don't get me wrong, they're sick crossbows. Somebody's gonna shred me in the comments. But also, I think that they have better damage. And especially if we're looking forward to, say, like a fourth job when they get, I think they get Hurricane, a fourth job, even in Classic. That really sets them apart. Now, they're obviously not mobile. And just like the Warriors, they're not mobile either. But that's a big knock, especially for later on in the game. I want to say nowadays that people have figured out like a movement tech for using archers, but it's a lot of pressing buttons. It's difficult, and I think, you know, as somebody who likes archer classes, somebody who is looking to, you know, when they get back on to old school Maple, they want to play an archer class. I think that honestly either is good. No joke, either is good. You know, there's a lot of safe spots you can grind. There's a lot of maps designed specifically for you. They definitely struggle in some areas. Like, I know Aqua is like very difficult for at least maneuvering around because they're not a mobile class. I do know that they like the, but again, this is just really specific. If you like the class, they're really good. They have sharp eyes, I believe, fourth job. They have some pretty good abilities. The Scarecrow's really good. Straight DPS, you're going to be picked for bossing. Your mobbing and stuff is also pretty good. It's not the best, but it's also pretty good. I would say it's maybe not as good as DK, but better than these two warriors. Definitely better than the Thieves for the most part. Not the mages, but I would say they're right floating around this B tier. If they're funded, they could be absolutely cracked. Now, that's why I put them in the middle, because if they're not, which pretty much no one's going to be on the launch of the server, so without funding, I think they're still a really strong class, and I still think that they carry deep into the game. Now, our marksmans, our crossbowmen folk out here, you're going in the B tier as well. If I could break this down a little bit more, I maybe would, as like a B+ for bowmen and like a B- for crossbowmen, but again, a lot of people in the comments would probably disagree with me on this. Crossbowmen do have their niche. They do have their spot. They are almost just as strong. I think especially later in the game, they get abilities that kind of put their DPS very close to bowmen or bowmasters, but they're clunky, they're slow. I'm never making one. If I was gonna go archer class, I would go bowman. But just similarly to paladin, it seems like there's not as many crossbowmen in the world for whatever reason, and I think it's just that they're not as flashy, they're not as cool. But their abilities are also very similar to bowmasters in general, so there's no reason why they're not viable. Similarly to the bowmaster, they're extremely viable. If they're funded, they're probably A tier DPS, you know what I mean? So, but without, I think they're still very strong. Now they're gonna have their niche, you know. They're gonna have those. They're gonna want to train on long maps. I mean, they're gonna want to safe spot stuff. They have their own place in the world, but they're just not very popular. So I would overall, the archers, they're a good middle of the road class. You're not going to be meta, I don't think. You're not going to be so off meta that you're not going to get picked, though. That's the thing about them. So it's a good class. Good, safe class to pick. Fun. I mean, I think their items are nice. They look good. If I was going to rate their equips, they're probably like middle. Some of their late game stuff is cool. But here's where we start getting into the fun stuff here, though, guys. The mage class. Now, I mean, it seems like throughout history, mages are the most popular class regardless of the server. So, like, I think they said, I don't think it was Artail, but one of the other old school servers, they were still like 50% mages in the whole server. So, even though they're not the best class in the game, they're still extremely meta. So there's going to be a ton of mages in the world, guys. And they're good. They have a lot of utility. They're fun. Teleport around the map. Cast spells. You get your job early. It's easy to pick up, especially for someone who played the game before. If you haven't played the game before, I would say they're still not bad. Especially like the damaging mages more so. Now, we're going to start here with the bishops, the clerics, the healing class. Now, we all know what if you know, you know. All right, guys. So this is, I think, without a doubt, the best class in the entire game. No question. This is the best class in the entire game. Bishops. They are the best class in the entire game. By far, they are the best class in the entire game. They are the easiest class in the entire game. They carry every patch. They are needed in every party, every step of the way. At least with the respect to Classic. They are the best class. I don't personally like the playstyle, but it's very, very good for party play, party quests. Obviously, bossing, like I said, you're going to be invited to a lot of things early. You're going to be doing a lot of content. If you want, I mean, you'll be in guilds. You know, you're going to be out there doing whatever you need, and you don't need to be, you know, over leveled for it because your class just carries. I mean, Holy Symbol, like, I feel like is borderline game breaking. Heal is borderline. I mean, it's really good. I don't think it necessarily needs to be nerfed, but maybe slightly adjusting the class in general. This class needs to be changed. It needs to be nerfed. Something needs to happen. Because I feel like if you touch it too much, it's going to be absolutely, it's gonna be like down here. It's gonna be horrible, and then no one's gonna play it. And it's the one unique class in the game that's it's basically the one healer class in the game. It's the one, so it needs to have its place, and it's obviously going to need to be party centric. But I don't know exactly what that looks like. I've seen in other servers where, like, Genesis, for example, is completely game breaking, but I've seen other servers kind of nerf those map-wide abilities. Like, that's why a lot of people play mages, is because of those third or fourth job abilities that are just so good. I think that those abilities, period, for all three classes, need to be adjusted to some degree. But specifically, the Bishop class needs to be nerfed. It's just too good. It's going to be this is the meta right here. It's going to be DK and it's going to be Priest. Together, they're going to be grinding until they're done. So, it would be nice to kind of, it doesn't need to change everything, just balance out the meta so that this isn't the two most important classes in the entire game, and everyone else is just kind of fighting for, like, you know, like a third wheel spot, you know? But as it stands right now, this is going to be the best class in the game. This will, I mean, it's, as far as I know, it's the only class that can get by with just just purely being luckless. Like, even in OG Classic, I think being a luckless cleric is the meta. That alone should speak volumes, because that just tells you right there that the class is broken as hell. Like, you could talk about Dexless assassins, you can talk about, like, you know, strength on bowmen. I mean, it's not that they just don't even need it. They don't even need it. They just use level 10 items at Skellies, and they are still the best class, support class, period, bar none, with their abilities. I mean, they need some work. They definitely need some work. There's no way around it. Now, I would just say be careful, because like I said, if you do too much, they're going to be down here. They're going to be terrible. And I know that they have like a little bit of a tough early-ish game-ish, because they only have heal and like magic claws. But like I said, they're going to be picked up for every single party, period. So I don't feel bad for them. They need to rework. They need a little bit of some work done here. Now, we'll leave it at that, though. We'll leave it at that for now. Moving on to the fire poison. I had to think a little bit about this one, and I'm going to put them in the C tier. And not because I think they're a bad class. Now, just let me cook for a second, guys. It is a good class. Fire poison is good. Some people love fire poison the way it is. I just don't think it's actually that good. I mean, it's a good solo class. You're going to be getting XP at a good rate. You're going to be clearing maps really efficiently, especially if you know what you're doing. I can't say that it's like really... It kind of is an unorthodox way where you like sort of like plant clouds of smoke all over the map, right? And then I've heard of, you know, you could even switch channels, do it on another channel, come back, clear that map, go to the other channel, go, you know, and like vice versa. Kind of feels weird. Kind of feels like that shouldn't be the way that the class is like being used. In bossing, I don't think that this class is even wanted in bossing, period. I don't, you know, so that's where mages struggle a little bit. Ice Lightning as well. They're not big in boss parties. If you were going to bring a mage, you would bring a bishop, but I think that of the two, Fire Poison is the worst one for bossing, but it is definitely the best one with regards to just mobbing. If you just want to solo, play the game, clear content, I mean, people, come on. If you're a high enough level, you'll be picked for parties. You'll be able to clear high level content. You'll be able to do bossing. I'm not saying that you will never be picked for a boss fight, but you know, you're not going to be first. You're not going to be second or third either. As a Fire Poison. Now, it's fun. I think they're cool. Their abilities are cool. But you know, it just depends on what you want out of the game, because like I said, it's definitely a solo class. So if you're focused more on solo play, just getting levels, gaining XP, getting items, you know, playing the game, clearing quests, not so much about, you know, like the end game content, bossing, things of that nature. Or if you just don't really mind that much. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Fire Poison. It's just a mobbing class, essentially. There's no other aspect to it. So I'll leave that there. I mean, it could probably use a buff with regard to bossing. That's all I would say. If it just got a small buff, like nothing crazy, just a buff with regard to their bossing, I think that they would be probably somewhere up here. No question, because their mobbing is that good. Like, if you really know what you're doing, this is probably the best mobber in the whole game. So moving on to Ice Lightning. This is a classic. I remember being a kid watching YouTube, and we'd be pulling up those Dre 86 videos of those Ice Lightning freaking bossing montages, their chain lightning and all that cool stuff. I mean, it's like classically very cool class. Ice and Lightning have a ton of utility. I think way more than Fire and Poison. There's way more mobs that are weak, I think, to ice and lightning than there are to fire and poison, if I'm not mistaken. I think chain lightning is definitely better. I think that these guys have slightly better bossing than these guys, than the fire poisons. Their abilities, I think, are like if I could, I would put them like right here, like right in between, because they're also kind of like a mobbing class. At the end of the day, they're cool. Like I said, a lot of people love playing mages. There's going to probably be a majority of mages on the server anyway. But I think if you like playing a mage and you don't want to be a bishop, because I can understand the play style is quite different, and fire poison's definitely not your style. You know, like ice lightning is what a lot of people are going to go, and it's just you know. I think that people like it more. I think it's also stronger. I think it's more viable throughout all of the patches. But that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. But like I said, I would probably put him somewhere in here, the way things currently stand. But that's another thing. Like if he could just get a small buff. Ice Lightning just needs maybe a small bossing buff. He'd be up here. Now we're going to get to the best classes. All right, guys? This is what it's all about. This is what everyone's been waiting for. This is what everyone thinks that they are going to play in their head, all right? Bear with me. I'm about to ruin some dreams here. Nah, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So let's start with the bandits. What do I think of this class? I think this class right off the bat is extremely cool. This class is sick. I want to be like, yeah, this class is sick. Shadower is sick. Chief Bandit is sick. Savage Blow is sick. Like, the weapons are sick. Like, Shadower class is just so sick. And I think that carries it a little bit. So I'm going to put it in C. The class is so cool. With that being said, this class is probably the hardest class in the game, I think. Shadow is probably the hardest build in the whole game. There's a ton to it. I mean, like I said, these classes are so cool. I mean, there's strength builds. There's strength bandits. They can wear shields. I mean, this class is really cool. They are competing with Night Lords for their equipment, which is not an easy task. It's going to be expensive to have a Shadower, to have a Chief Bandit. It's going to be crazy expensive. It's going to be crazy difficult, and your damage is going to be like your. It's going to be a little bit underwhelming for how much I think effort you put in. Now they have their niche. Now, like the Meso Bomb or whatever is cracked, and like I think it has its place, but it's just game breaking. And I think they kind of like leaned on that too much. Like this is just a class to burn money. Like I think if they just gave them better bossing, maybe buff them to some degree, like Band of Thieves is like probably one of my favorite skills. If they just buffed something like that, for example, so they have a little better bombing, they could be up here. Again, easily up there. Everyone loves it. Dude, this class is sick. You're running around ripping savage blows. Your numbers are going off the screen. Like, it's sick. It's sick. Now, the reason most people don't play it is because it's so difficult. So much money's required, so much, like, and then you don't even really get a reward. Like, it's so challenging. I think that, like, the early levels are really difficult. It's just a tough class. I definitely think this class needs to get something, because if they're just going to be relying on Meso Explosion for their bossing, in my opinion, that essentially just means that you can't boss. Because unless you just have a bunch of funny to throw away, then you can't boss. And not only that, like it's game breaking. So like if you wanted to just one shot Zack him, like okay, like that's just not balanced. This class needs some changes, and I hate to say it, but this class definitely needs some changes. Not like anything major, because the way it looks, the abilities, Savage Blow, like Band of Thieves, all those abilities are classic to Maple, and they're so cool. But this class is lacking with late game stuff, progression stuff. I mean, if I was gonna play a thief, if I was gonna actually play MapleStory again, period, once Classic comes out, I'm not touching Shadower. Unless you are a diehard, you know what you're doing already, there's no reason that you should touch this class, because you're not going to have fun. You're just not going to have fun. I want to play this class so much in my head, but it's just not it. So for that reason, I'm going to put it into C. This class could easily be D. This class could easily be D. It's just carried by how sick it is. And last but not least, guys, last but not least, another class that everyone thinks that they're going to play. Everyone thinks that their Night Lord is going to be sick. Everyone thinks that they're even going to reach level 70 on this class. But they're not. They're not. This class is the textbook Glass Cannon. The Night Lords are MapleStory's... They're MapleStory's most iconic class, I would say, potentially. I've been going back and forth about putting them in S tier or A tier. And I think... Man, it's really tough. Let me just talk you through it first. I'm going to put them in S tier right now, and I might put them back to A tier, so just hear me out. Most iconic class in the game. Everybody knows the Adventure ability. Everybody knows the Flash Jump ability. Like, everybody knows the Shadow Partner ability. Everybody knows the freaking Triple Throw. Like, all that stuff. So, like, everyone wants to be that guy jumping around the map. Just freaking just shredding, doing big damage, criticals. Everyone wants that. Everyone wants that. You see the Dexless guy with the sauna robe and the Zachem helmet with the Maple Claw. They're going crazy. They got Ilbies. Bro, you are not going to get Ilbies. Look at me, bro. Look at me. You're never going to have Ilbies. Ever. You're going to quit. Like, guys, especially on launch. Like, there's no... Like, you're going to be using probably Subies until like level 40, 50 maybe, man. Like, you'll be lucky if you got some Mokebees, like Coombees. You'll be lucky, bro. Steelies will be a fever dream. Steelies will be a fever dream. And like, I don't know what they're gonna... Like, this is a class that could have something changed. Like, if you look with respect to Artel, they removed the recharge thing. That could be good. It's interesting. I'm not sure if they'll do it, though. That would just make them even more unobtainable, though, as we've seen. So, I don't know. Not only are the stars insanely expensive to get, you know, it's you have to keep recharging them. That's one thing. That's one whole aspect. Now, their equipment, a whole nother aspect, is going to be crazy expensive. I'm hoping that they don't allow things like Dexless to be a thing, because it's just bad for the game. Like, there's no reason that every single assassin on Classic World should be walking around in a sauna robe, snowshoes, and a Maple Kendayo and freaking a Zachem helmet. Like, it's just bad for the game. Everyone needs their 2 stats. Dex is important, and that kind of makes people have flexibility with their build. So, like, if you wanted to be... I'm okay with things like, say, a low Dex build or something like that, where you're maybe wearing level 40 assassin equipment when you're level 50. You'll put it on at level 55. you know, the level 50 stuff or the level 60 or I don't know, whatever it may be. It depends on your build. Or if you know, you can scroll equipment a certain way, but the two stats are so important for holding balance between all of these classes, because once this guy goes dexless, he's up here. Like, he's the best class in the game by far. By far. Like, there's no reason to even play a bowmaster if you have a dexless Sin in the game. So hopefully we keep that. But his equipment's going to be extremely expensive, especially if people are going to want to be min-maxing luck. That's how you're going to blow his damage out of the water, obviously. So his equipment's extremely expensive off the bat. Stars, extremely expensive off the bat. You're going to be extremely squishy, so that's 3 things. You're a glass cannon class. Extremely squishy right off the bat. It's going to cost a ton of money with potions, MP potions. I mean, it's going to be tough early. I mean, until you get funded, until you get geared, this class is extremely hard. Now, if we're talking like min-max, this is the best class in the game. Talking like right in the beginning of the server, this class just came out. You know, certain things aren't possible, like Dexless and stuff like that. I think things get way more balanced. So, this is the best DPS in the game, but I think I'm going to put him in A tier. With Hero. Like, it's really, really, really cool, and that carries it. Everyone loves, everyone is a Night Lord in their head. But actually playing a Night Lord is completely different. So for that reason, I'm going to put them in A tier. Now, looking at this list, I mean, these things could change. Like, when they get the 4th job, this class is going to fall off, and this class is going to go up here, and I think they're going to switch like that. But on release, which I think we'll focus on release here. On release, these 2 are going to be the best classes in the game. No question about it. Absolutely no question. Bishops, Dark Knights, best class in the game on a fresh start server. No one can tell me otherwise. Unless, of course, things change. Your second place, your A tier, is going to be your Hero class. Like I started off the video with, extremely well-rounded. Great well-rounded class. Not super expensive. Fun. Viable throughout almost the whole game, I would say. Assassin, extremely expensive. Glass Cannon, best DPS in the game. Insanely cool. So, like, difficult to play, but if you are good at the class, you're rewarded. That's basically what's going on. And if you have the facilities, you know, not everyone's going to have the facilities to be chucking steelies around for 45 minutes at a time, bro. Maybe you'll be able to get one set, but if you know anything about back in the day, dude, you probably needed to train for like 2-3 hours. You probably needed like 5 or 6, 7 sets of steelies, dude. You don't got the facilities. So on an early server, this is going to be a tough class to play. There's going to be a lot of people trying to play this class, but like the higher end players are going to be really, really, really good. When we get to the B tier, I think these are solid classes to play. Really, really solid classes to play, especially on fresh start. Your archer classes, great utility for themselves for the most part. I mean, they do have sharp eyes and stuff like that. I mean, Scarecrow, they have great DPS. They thrive in bossing. They thrive on certain maps. They're going to get picked up for bossing. I mean, they're a good, solid class. Your Ice Lightning Mage, probably the flashier, the more popular of the 2. Fire Poison versus Ice Lightning, they're probably the more popular. Probably the more viable as well throughout the whole game. I think slightly better bossing. Comparable mobbing, but similar to Fire Poison in that it's just that I just think they're a little bit better. They're just a little bit better. Your Fire Poison, these guys down here, like I think these guys I don't think I would pick them up. Your Fire Poison, unless you like Fire Poison, it just doesn't seem like a good class to me. And I think it needs to have some kind of rework. Something needs to be changed about this class, 100%. Just to make it more viable into endgame content. for bossing, stuff like that, and then also kind of like just rework the way that their mobbing works, like just flipping channels, poisoning a bunch of channels, coming back, sweeping the channels, coming back, sweeping the channels. It's just like feels wrong. But that's just my take. So, your Shadower. Now again, really cool class. Really cool class. It's just going to be really expensive, really difficult, really big struggle early, especially on a fresh start world, and you're just not going to get a lot for your effort. It's just not going to, you're not going to get a lot for this. It's unfortunate, but this class needs a buff too. I think this class definitely needs a buff. Paladin. Unless you're a diehard Paladin guy, like I said in the beginning of the video, man, I'm a Paladin guy. I love a good Paladin. But, like, it's just, I just wouldn't pick it up. There's just better warriors. Unless you love Paladin, there's just, and also if you want to stand out, because Paladin's probably going to be the least picked class in Classic. I'd be willing to bet. That character build is going to be easily the least picked. And it's kind of understandable if things stay the way they are. So I would say like these three, definitely some kind of buff needed. For sure. No question. I would say these three right here might need some kind of nerf. Like some kind of nerf. Especially Bishop. Especially Bishop. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's where, and like I said, some of these could move around a bit, but this is where I think that they're comfortably close to at least these rankings. When I get on Classic, I will be playing a Night Lord, but that's me today. I've also played a good bit of Assassin back in the day, but you know, I'm a bad example. But I will be playing Night Lord. I'll be that guy who thinks he has the best Night Lord on the server. Now let me think. I think that's all I wanted to cover. I mean, I don't know about specific nerfs. Like, I can cover in another video specifically things that I think should be either removed for the game, reworked from some of these classes, or, you know, some other changes that I think Classic is going to need, like Classic Plus content, or, you know, some items, or like item progression, or just general progression for classes I think needs to be different. But I can get into that in some other videos if you guys potentially want that. I am going to be streaming Classic World when it comes out. My socials are going to be in the down below. If you've made it this far, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to be posting more stuff like this, so make sure you stick around. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you guys agree, disagree, why you disagree, what other stuff you'd like me to talk about, what other concepts do you think or subjects that you want to see discussed. I haven't been seeing too much Classic content posted, but that's why I decided to make this video, because I wanted to get more attention drawn to the game. I mean, I'm really excited, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you guys on Classic World. So, without further ado, peace, and see you guys soon.